we got another one from Tolino Channel. He dropped 100 rupees. He says, who will sell the soul? Seth, who already attacked his brother, or Punk, who is here to make money?
Here we
Listen,
go. Let's just dive into it, baby.
We got to talk about this because obviously we weren't live for Friday, but
right.
Or live Monday, but the whole situation. Billy, first, let me just get your perspective because we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of carry the conversation that way.
Yeah.
On SmackDown, you see The Rock come out to Cody. It's a long-winded promo, and he goes to Cody and he's like, I want you to be my champion. And he doesn't want his belt. He wants him to basically sell his soul to The Rock and TKO.
Yes.
Your reaction to the segment, your reaction to the story, what are you thinking?
Okay. So before I even answer that question, I have to say that this is feels like there's a couple parts here that I gotta just take on real fast. Number one, this all makes sense in hindsight. Cody Rhodes, if you think about it, he's this babyface superhero. He need even after winning the championship, everybody talked last year about him going through like diversity and stuff like that and having to climb the uphill battle to finally beat Roman. Well, the problem is after you win the championship, especially as a babyface, you still have to face I said diversity. I meant adversity. Excuse me. I thought about that like mid-sentence. But even as the champion, you still have to face some kind of adversity. I actually seen a video. I can't remember who exactly it was from, but they kind of pointed back to like when Daniel Bryan turned heel with the Wyatts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a little callback to that and kind of playing into the Homelander thing. Now that right there, that could easily make sense, but I actually see something a little bit bigger, right? And I see something a little bit better here. Cody is the ultimate babyface. WWE right now, it's kind of like John Cena. It would almost be silly to turn this guy heel because of what he's doing for the company.
Of course.
I think ultimately what really makes sense is somebody like CM Punk, who last night hinted at it. He said, I'm the devil. CM Punk has been the devil his whole career. If you look back on Ring of Honor, if you go to his time in WWE, or what was he before? You better make sure you can you can box with God. Like CM Punk has always had these references surrounding him. And CM Punk has always been this person who has had problems with the quote unquote establishment, right? Well, who better than to sell their soul, right? Because somebody who's had all these problems with the establishment as they get older are going to get tired of having to fight and scratch and crawl their way to the top. Eventually, they're just going to do what they need to do to get to the top. And right now, the person that makes that much sense is CM Punk. He came in and he told you, he said, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
So let's dissect this a little bit, right? I think, all great points. When I watched the segment, there was a lot of people who were like, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is probably the best thing they can do with The Rock and Cody before they ever get to a Cody and Rock match. Because you got to remember, for months, everybody's like, man, The Rock and Cody drinking Terramana, Moana,
it was weird.
Premiere, best friends backstage. And Cody and The Rock acknowledged that in the segment.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously The Rock is saying like, yeah, man, I like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But The Rock is an executive.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his loyalties to Ari Emanuel. And he's kind of talking about these things with Nick Khan and Ari. Why would The Rock go after Cody after they've, you see the Netflix thing, right? Everybody was like, oh my God, The Rock and Cody babyface. All those things happen to make the most sense here.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Cody's not fucking selling his soul. Cody is not going to sell his soul. Cody is not going to be heel. It's not happening.
No.
So the good thing here is, okay, maybe there is a risk for The Rock wrestling at WrestleMania. And they've known this.
Yeah.
Whatever's happening at WrestleMania, just so you guys know, WWE has been aware of it literally since they even thought about this. Cody told everybody for months what you guys are all predicting. No, it's not. Nobody has predicted this. Nobody thought this would be the situation.
It's not sensible.
They have very clearly planned and thought and calculated this out. So you bring up CM Punk.
Yeah.
Here's the craziest fucking part. CM Punk says he is Satan himself.
Yep.
Okay, that's a very reasonable
Person to sell their soul.
Yeah, right. Like it makes sense, right?
I mean, a person who doesn't have a soul would most likely be inclined to sell their soul.
Now, also, we can go back and talk from my old live streams where I said CM Punk heel turn going corporate. It makes a lot of sense.
You've talked about it numerous times.
We never talked about how you tie in
No.
him going corporate, but holy shit, The Rock is the answer, right?
He's the corporate man.
So corporate man Punk makes a lot of sense here. I don't think that's what WWE is doing.
What?
And if they do, I'm happy, but I don't think that's what they're doing. And the reason why, listen, look at this chamber match. Every single individual in that match, no matter what, there's not one person that is clearly untouchable from not selling their fucking soul.
No,
that includes Logan Paul, and that includes Damian Priest, and that includes Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, real fast before we continue, just big credit to him. That promo he cut last night gave me goosebumps.
Very good stuff.
Very good stuff. That man is very underrated, in my opinion.
So it's interesting because you mentioned that, and I think Seth, I don't know who tweeted it out, but it was a very fair point.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much of a gap between Cody and the trilogy that we saw with Seth.
Yeah.
That this could be really intriguing, right?
Yeah, especially now. New characters, new character development.
Exactly. Personally speaking, Seth has every reason to sell his soul. His WrestleMania moment was taken away by Cody.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins went and helped Cody finish the story, and Cody aligned with Roman Reigns after. There's so many pieces to the puzzle where Seth could sell his soul.
Yep.
And by the way, we have seen Seth Rollins. You should never trust him. He stabbed the Shield in the back, right?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Kevin Owens.
Exactly. So I love the idea of Seth being the one to sell his soul. It's not going to be Seth.
No.
I actually like the idea of Logan Paul. I know this sounds crazy. This is not popular, but Logan Paul is already hated. Logan Paul is already a guy who cheats infamously in his matches. Logan Paul has the podcast. Logan Paul is a very big entity outside of WWE. It could make a lot of sense for him to sell his soul as well. WWE utilizing Logan Paul and The Rock, and there's history between them. There's a lot of stuff. I like the idea.
So my problem with it, though, before you continue, my problem with that is I think it's a ready factor. I think you can utilize Logan Paul in that role, but it's kind of, if you go back to, just the, what was it? The Authority.
Yeah.
You can have more than one guy in this.
Yeah.
It doesn't just need to be one person. I think Logan Paul, if you want to put him in a more ready factor and you want to, again, you let him maybe go hold the Intercontinental Championship. You have this heel group just kind of running rampant. I think you could do something like that. But I ultimately think CM Punk needs to be the one kind of leading that charge.
So this is where I'm going to disregard what you just said for a reason.
Yeah,
okay?
Go ahead.
I get what you're saying, but no. Because as much as I like the idea of Logan Paul, out of everybody in this list, it could make sense for him to sell his soul. He's not going to.
Right.
And no heel faction with Logan.
Okay.
But Damian Priest is another person I just want to point out could sell his soul. They're not going to do that because they've worked on him becoming a babyface and he's done a good job. It would be too quick. But Damian Priest would actually have a lot of reasons to sell his soul and to become the corporate champion.
Wants to get back.
But nobody's talking about Drew McIntyre as the most viable option. We often talk about Drew McIntyre getting his moment at WrestleMania, and everybody thinks, oh, it's hard because it's the babyface thing. No, we have the connection to him and The Rock. Drew McIntyre, 1000% should be the guy who sells his soul. He defeats Cody at WrestleMania thanks to The Rock's help. The Rock comes out at WrestleMania, ref bump, rock bottom, people's elbow. The Rock throws Drew McIntyre on top of Cody to win the fucking match. You do it that way. That's how you book it. Drew McIntyre literally will piss everybody off. Cody drops the belt. Drew McIntyre becomes The Rock's front man. He becomes the guy. The Rock is pulling the strings. Drew McIntyre becomes the guy as a heel that holds it down. But we got to remember, we got to connect storylines. We got other things happening. What about that super group between Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens? There's an opportunity there. So the thing is, what I love about this is, yes, Punk being heel makes a lot of sense, and it would be fantastic content. Seth Rollins turning heel, selling his soul against Cody, fantastic content. And there would be a lot of reason to do it. You do it with Drew because this guy has been carrying the fucking company as the best heel and constantly comes up short.
Yeah.
The Rock was a very big integral person in the situation regarding Drew re-signing with the company. So you tell that story. You tell the story of him giving him the sword. You tell the story of Drew McIntyre being like, hey, man, like all of you guys turn your backs on the company and you do it for, like, there's so many ways they go about it. But if The Rock helps Drew McIntyre win the WWE Championship, all because Cody turned him down at Elimination Chamber, now this is how you successfully get Cody away from the WWE Championship for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can have Cody get into that build with The Rock and Drew and SummerSlam and whatever. I think we will see The Rock wrestle more often. We're not dumb. We know he's doing movies. But if you have Drew win the championship, now you could kind of shake things up on SmackDown with Cody not being forced to hold the belt. And eventually Cody could get the belt back. But this allows Drew to actually have a meaningful and successful title run.
Yeah,
which is something we haven't really been able to see.
I'm not opposed to that. Go ahead.
And you got to remember, it's been super difficult to map it out because you're like, Drew's the heel. For the longest time, it was him as a babyface carrying the company. Now he's carrying the company as a heel. How do you do it?
Do you think he wins the chamber?
1,000,000%.
Really? You think Drew is winning the chamber?
I think Drew wins the chamber. And I have ways of booking it. So when we do our prediction show, I will 100% map it out.
Yeah.
I have it thought out, and it's well thought out. But Drew should win the chamber 100%.
Okay.
And I think this is where you get back to what's really been planned, which is Punk versus Rollins at Mania.
Yep.
I think
you do Cena versus Logan.
Personally speaking, I would like to see Cena versus Roman Reigns. That's what I would like to see. There's a reason for that.
Okay.
But you know, and we haven't even talked about Cena selling his soul. He could sell his soul.
Yeah, I mean, there's a potential there, but it's it seems undermining at this rate. When
you think of an idea of a faction where it's like Owens and Drew and Seth turning heel, Cody's gonna need another babyface to join him,
back him up,
and John Cena, Cody Rhodes, kind of like being the Avengers.
Well, I think it's kind of funny. I think potentially you can land Randy Orton in there too.
So not only can you land Randy Orton, but if you want, you could also throw Roman Reigns in the mix.
Exactly. Like there's numerous names that you could throw in that mix. You could do the whole, like, these three guys ran the company, you know. Yeah, I could see that. So
there is a lot of beautiful aspects to it. Now, of course, I'm intrigued by John Cena turning heel. I've been saying John Cena is going to turn heel in this final run anyways. Yeah. Him selling his soul would be phenomenal stuff, but
that would shock the world.
But do you really want John Cena to win number 17 by selling his soul to The Rock?
That's kind of where my thought process is. Again, I've said it this whole time since this run started. As much as John Cena turning heel makes sense to everybody, and there's a lot of logic behind it, it just feels like at this, rate of the game, it doesn't seem feasible.